Friends, in this video for iThought Wealth, I am going to talk to you on the topic moving from a place of optimism to a place of pessimism. The stock market always sees some parts which are always optimistic and some parts which are always pessimistic. The optimistic part is where investors feel confident, where they don't feel insecure and they feel that no harm can come. Sometimes this optimism lends to overconfidence because people are habitually optimistic, because you have seen a few quarters when things do well and you think that it's going to be the same for a very long time to come. But stock market doesn't have this happily ever after stories for too long, because every good thing has to have a pause or even an end, and every bad thing also has to end or have a new beginning. So, where there is optimism, we can see that gradually wane, and where there is extreme pessimism, we can see the pessimism gradually recede. I am going to give two contrasting parts of the market, one where there is very high optimism and another where there is very high pessimism. I am going to share a tweet which I put out on this, so have a look at it. And in this video, I am going to talk further on what I have already said in this tweet. There can't be a more optimistic part of this stock market than pharma. We have seen the highest participation in this theme. Connected companies which make inputs for pharmaceuticals have also gained the highest in valuations. So, overall, we are seeing the pharma sector and the better performing parts of the pharma sector, or the parts of the pharma sector which have shown drastic improvement in performance, being celebrated in a way which assumes that this success will sustain for a very long time. But it is not likely to, and we had evidence of that even in the last quarter. What was this evidence? We saw that margins which had expanded during COVID are back to their pre-COVID levels or trending towards that. When margins start contracting, they don't immediately give relief, they take a very long time, and the bargaining power of companies also come down, because as such the margins are coming down, they still need to maintain their growth, because without growth, sustaining high valuations will become very difficult for them. So, the companies focus primarily on ensuring that the growth sustains. At least if the growth sustains, they have some story to tell investors. So, it will be very difficult for them to compromise on growth. They rather compromise on margins and allow the growth to happen. Sometimes they are even forced to reduce their margins to have the growth going. We seem to be entering such a phase, but the stock market is assuming that the margins will come back to those glory days we saw a few quarters ago. It is very unlikely that that will happen, and companies are not showing that confidence. But investors seem to be confident, and more so retail investors seem to be confident that this will happen. But knowing what has happened in the past, it is quite difficult for that to play out. On the other side, we have a sector where there is extreme pessimism. In 2019, there was extreme optimism, but today there is extreme pessimism. I am talking about the auto sector, especially two-wheelers and four-wheelers. We believe that the loss of growth, the slowdown in sales, the shortage in semiconductors, and the dramatic threat from EV are all going to keep the auto industry bogged down. But this may not entirely be the case, because we have become far more pessimistic than these threats justify or validate. So, we could well see a completely different scenario unfold in the next year. We could see the pessimism gradually recede, supply increase, new product launches gain momentum, some launches become very big hits, and we could see companies regain the lost momentum over a few quarters. it all depends upon how companies capture the imagination of consumers. Don't forget that interest rates continue to be very close to historical lows for vehicle loans. So, it is quite likely that next year people will come back, see those new product launches, see those prices and decide to buy them rather than wait, because they could fear that interest rates can go up. While buying an automobile, if you take an automobile loan, once the loan is taken, if there is a change in interest rates at the bank level or the lender level, it does not affect this loan. These are fixed price loans. So, when the interest rates are low, it makes sense for people to buy their automobiles and lock in, because it will keep their overall cost of ownership in check. So, this is probably the best time for people to buy automobiles. They are probably waiting to see whether they can get more choices, and the next year, come January, they are going to see those choices, and they are also going to see whether the threat posed by new EV players like Ola are real or they are just hype. So, from all accounts, the next year may well see the brick and mortar auto industry, the guys who are leaders, come back and surprise. But the market seems to be seeing red all over, and they are not willing to take even a contrarian view of this situation. That essentially is what is an opportunity for people like us. We could take a contra view in this space and buy leaders and gradually build a position. As you see the new launches next year, as you get to see the products, evaluate them and understand whether they could be hits, you can always scale up your position, and as you get more evidence, build your positions to make meaningful difference to your portfolio. Clearly, this is the time to take some money off the optimistic part of the market and put them in the pessimistic part of the market. We have seen that 2 years ago, auto was in a place where nothing could go wrong, and pharma is in a place where nothing could go right. Today, we are in a place where the market thinks nothing can go wrong in pharma and nothing can go right for auto. Both scenarios were proved wrong, and we are going to see that again. Thank you for watching this video.